Hello and welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. I'm Kat Clay, your keeper of arcane lore, and tonight I am running Note and Notoriety from Host and Hostility, a collection of 3 Regency scenarios by the Honourable SR Sellens. These are intended for a single player and keeper, and tonight I welcome Phaedra to the table. Welcome, Phaedra.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Now, who might you be playing tonight?
I am playing the one and only Marina Garrick.
Can you tell me a little bit about Marina? What's she been up to these days?
Well, Marina is only 19 years of age. You know, she's just now starting her journey through society, but she's not a big fan of it, if I'm honest. She is quite a spirited young lady. She prefers to exercise her body rather than her mind. She's very much into horse riding. She has, 3 older brothers, and that brings a certain air of masculine energy to her. She's not into the fashion and the traditional feminine activities. And I don't think she'll be very keen to be told what to do by anyone, even if they are a potential husband, because she has this drive to challenge authority and fight for what's right. And as a woman in the Regency era, I imagine there's a lot of that to be done.
So, unfortunately, Marina, your mother doesn't agree with this lifestyle, and you have been sent to Brighton in the hope that you are to make a most eligible match. So you find yourself at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Hampton, some of your mother's closest friends. Here the air smells briny, even when the doors and windows are closed, for the Hampton home is close to the sea and the bathing boxes. You're hoping to catch up while you're here with your good friend, Miss Harriet Fenchurch, to escape the tedium of the Hamptons' company. So it's the morning of your first day with the Hamptons, and as you sit in the dining room awaiting breakfast, Mr. Hampton is reading the paper. He remarks upon a singular article. "Oh, now, is he really? What kind of triviality is that the newspaper is reduced to talking about gossip? Listen to this, my dear Miss Garrick. The ball of the season is to be held at Thornhill Manor, seat of Sir Jasper Dulfray, tomorrow evening. Sir J, and I mean they cannot use grammar in this newspaper. Sir J has been noticeably absent in society of late. Could the rumours of his ill health be true? The cause of his absence notwithstanding, his ball tomorrow night promises to be a most singular distraction, and, in keeping with his usual extravagance, promises to feature the largest midnight display of fireworks yet seen at an event such as this. An evening of frolics and fun await all those fortunate enough to have received an invitation." Well, I haven't received such invitation, have you?
Well, I do love a firework display, but unfortunately me neither. I suppose we must stay in for another night and avoid socializing with all these wonderful, wonderful people.
And as you have your delightful breakfast of kippers and toast, hard-boiled eggs and tea, surprisingly the footman arrives with a card on a silver salver. "Miss Harriet Fenchurch is calling for the young lady. Shall I tell her you are in?"
Oh, Harriet, please do. I'd love to see her. Oh, it's getting quite dreary in here.
So Miss Harriet Fenchurch has arrived, and she's thrilled to see you, Marina, and she greets you very warmly and says, "I come with the greatest of news. I cannot believe that you're here, and I am here to rescue you from the tedium of the Hamptons, because I come bearing with me an invitation to the ball of the season."
Oh.
And she hands you over a crisp white envelope.
What an absolutely unlikely coincidence. We were just referring to this occasion with Mr. Hampton here, weren't we, Mr. Hampton?
Oh, yes, I suppose we were. I can't say I endorse much of this frolicking. Are you really going to go, Marina?
How could we possibly refuse such an invitation, Mr. Hampton? It would be a terrible faux pas.
I am not one for dancing, as you well know. But if you promise me that there is to be no frolicking, especially no frolicking with gentlemen, unless they are marriageable, eligible, and very, very rich, then I shall leave you in the capable hands of Miss Fenchurch. I am too tired to dance.
I do not frolic, Mr. Hampton. I run.
Oh, good Lord. Now, you open the envelope that she's given you, and the invitation says on a crisp piece of paper, the quote, "While we live, let us live." And inside it requests your company to attend the ball of the season at Thornhill Manor on Saturday, 19th of September at 7:00 p.m., which you know is tomorrow evening. And it's signed Sir Jasper Dulfray, Sussex, September 1812. Harriet is very excited. Oh, Marina, Sir Jasper Dulfray, he's the most eligible match of the season, and while I have my eye on somebody else, you, my dear Marina, could not do any better than my cousin, for if you were to be married to him, we should become family. He is by far the most eligible man in Brighton.
Oh goodness, I didn't expect this day would come so soon, but I suppose if I am to marry anyone, I could do worse than become a family member of yours, Miss Fenchurch.
Oh, that's the spirit. I'm so excited. We have all day to prepare, but I was wondering what your plans were for today.
Tell me, Harriet, does Mr. Thornhill have horses?
Mr. Thornhill does not.
Your cousin? He does not have horses?
Well, my cousin, because I was slightly confused because he's called Sir Jasper Dulfray. We have different last names. And Thornhill Manor, I cannot quite tell from memory what the history of the manor is, but he does, I suspect, have horses because it's quite a large estate. You will see, we will have to go tomorrow morning early so that I may show you all the grounds. And you will not believe this, but there is the most diverting maze.
Ooh, a maze. That sounds absolutely thrilling.
Yes, it's the perfect place to get lost in with a certain somebody.
Or by yourself.
I suppose. Don't you want to get married, Marina?
I do not like to disappoint Mother, so in a sense I do want to get married. It's just that I don't want to be married. Do you understand?
Aren't they the same thing?
I have so many things to do in my days with my life. I just hope my husband, whoever they are, can support my need to exercise, to leave the house. I do not want to turn just like my mother, just sitting on an armchair and embroidering and doing needlework all hours of the day and raising children. I just want to be treated like a man, and I have not yet met a man who is willing to do that for me.
Treated like a man? Oh,
with respect.
Me.
Oh,
with respect.
You'll never understand, Miss Fenchurch.
You want to be respected. Well, there are many ways you can be respected. in the ton. And, well, one of the ways we could we could go and get your dress fixed up. It is a little tatty for the dress, and get you some pretty accessories. Or we could go practice our dancing so that we are ready to impress all the gentlemen.
All right. Very well. Let us go. I will do what you like, Miss Finchurch, as long as you promise me that we find horses, go to the mage, and look at the fireworks. I just love how loud they are.
I suppose. Well, I think the best course of action here is for us to practice our dancing with Mr. Hubert Patrington, who is just the best dance coach in Brighton. And I've been seeing him already to get all the moves for the season. So I think we should go there, because obviously I'm a little concerned that you're not going to impress my cousin enough.
Well, don't hold back, Miss Finchurch. Very well. I will try to impress. If that is what you and Mother wish from me, I will try my best. But of course, if things don't work out, they just don't work out. We might have to accept that.
I'm sure things will work out. I mean, he is a little on the sickly-looking side, but appearances aren't everything. He's a proper gentleman. So let us go to practice our dancing.
Let's.
So you take a carriage from outside the house to a very fine-looking studio in a fancy part of Brighton, and it is the studio of Mr. Hubert Patrington, who is a renowned dancing master. Mr. Patrington welcomes you at the door. He's like, "Oh, hello, ladies, are you here? Are you here to practice the most popular and fashionable dances this season?"
Indeed we are.
Oh, jolly good, jolly good. So, as you well know, in the season, we do all the same dances and we learn them all. And so there's no surprises. Everyone can go in confidently to the balls and not put a foot wrong because we've practiced them all. It would be the absolute height of rudeness for anybody to change the lineup at a ball this late in the season. I mean, it would be a catastrophic faux pas.
This feels like foreshadowing.
I don't know what that is. I'm just a humble dance instructor. But if you two would like to take one another as partners, we shall have a small jig. Now, I would like you to both step into line, and he begins playing some music on a fiddle so that you can get the tune right. And you proceed to run through all the moves of a particularly heinous jig. Could you make a dancing roll for me?
I'd love to. I failed by 10 points. 55 over 45.
Marina, what are you doing? Stop stepping on my feet. You are meant to go left and I go right.
I'm sorry, I'm just used to dancing to good music.
That won't do. We'll just have to practice some more. And unfortunately, you practice, well into mid-morning, and the violin begins to grate on you both. And after some time, Harriet just gives up because you've clearly trod on her foot one too many times. And you retire from the dancing master, who bows at you, with all courtesy, even with a little bit too much pleasantries, because he's a little concerned about your dancing skills there, Marina. But after you've finished, Harriet takes you aside and to a local tea house. And so my dear friend, I actually have a confession to make.
A confession, Harriet?
It's a secret. You must swear not to tell anybody.
Who would I tell, Mr. Hampton?
Well, not even Mr. Hampton. Just promise me that you won't utter this to a soul. I trust you.
I promise.
I have met a man. He's a lieutenant in the militia, and I think he's going to propose to me at the ball on Saturday.
Oh, goodness. When did this occur?
Well, we met 2 weeks ago. He's a friend of Sir Jasper, and his name is Lieutenant James Wansworth, and he's the most handsome man in his beautiful, beautiful uniform, and he's just the bravest, best young gentleman in England. I mean, he's told me all the stories of his heroism in the time in the militia, and he's such a good friend of my cousin Sir Jasper. So no one could possibly disapprove of the match.
Well, it seems like you had no reason to keep it a secret for so long. If I were you, I would just tell everyone.
Well, no, it's just, you know how things are. People gossip. I mean, you read the newspaper here in Brighton. They would love this kind of thing because obviously as a young lady of standing, I am expected to marry a baron or a marquis, and he is a lieutenant, and I'm concerned about what my aunt will say.
Well, who gives a damn about what your aunt says? Just do what your heart tells you and go forth. If this is the man you'll be happy with, why would you let anyone tell you otherwise?
Well, that is exactly why we are friends, because that's exactly the response I wanted to hear. And I think that I would like to introduce you to him tomorrow morning. So if tomorrow we could go to Thornhill Manor together in the morning, and he can take us in his lovely, lovely, carriage, an open-air carriage, and we can go there together, and you can get to know him and see what such a good man he is. And then you'll be convinced, and then it might give me the courage to talk to my aunt about our situation.
Very well. If that is what it will take.
Well, I am just thrilled because you will adore seeing Thornhill Manor before the ball. I mean, few have the luxury of seeing this place in all its splendour.
I would love to walk the grounds all day.
And at that, Harriet, it's pending on lunchtime. It's close to 1:00, and she takes her leave of you to go and prepare for the ball tomorrow. But she does promise that she will pick you up tomorrow morning with the dashing lieutenant in tow. Now, you've got some time this afternoon. Was there anything that you particularly wanted to do, Marina?
Marina, not knowing for certain whether there will be horses, would like to do some riding. Of course, I'm not sure if the Hamptons have the capacity to offer that to her.
So the Hamptons do not have an estate, so they live in a line of houses that are close to the Brighton seashore. You could potentially ask Mr. Hampton as to where you could get some horse riding lessons, or the other opportunities are to explore the town as well. Let me just see if I can get a map up of Brighton.
Exploring the town sounds fun. Let me see what we have here.
So there's a few places in town. You're currently at the North Street Coffee House, where you can obviously have some lunch and a cup of coffee with your friend. There is the modiste for getting the latest fashions. The milliners for getting the latest hats. There is an inn, but it's certainly not a place for young ladies. And plenty of other, the assembly rooms as well, but they're not in use at the moment just because it's not the time for a ball. The biggest ball in town is on tomorrow night, and there's also a bookshop.
Ooh. Well, actually, I don't think Marina is much of a reader. No, she is not. Perhaps a new riding hat.
A new riding hat is an excellent choice, madame. So you make your way to the milliner, and many of the women there are getting ready for the ball tomorrow night. The store is quite busy with people, and who are trying on the latest designs in bonnets with feathers in them and flowers for tomorrow's ball. Your request for a riding hat is quite unusual at this point in time.
Classic Marina.
But the milliner offers to help you. Yes, miss. Are you sure you do not want something for the ball tomorrow night? I mean, if you are in fact invited. I mean, judging by the state of your dress, it is a little dirty. Your hemlines certainly need some care.
I was indeed invited, and I will be there, she says very proudly.
Instead of this, this riding hat, why not get a pretty little tiara for tomorrow night? Or these flowers, Sir Jasper does throw the most lavish parties, and he's known to wear extraordinarily fine clothes. You need to look the part for this ball.
If you manage to find me a new riding hat, I will also purchase whatever else you think might be fitting for this ball.
Well, I do in fact have a riding hat here, and I also have this exquisitely designed circlet of flowers, which is also decorated with a tiny golden horseshoe. So I think this might be quite in your taste, young lady.
At this point, Marina is almost enjoying the charade, so I think she's going to put it on and be very amused with herself.
Well,
I will take it.
Oh, most excellent choice, young lady. I will wrap that up for you in tissue paper. And she goes away and wraps up the tiara, the horse-themed tiara, and the horse hat in tissue paper, and hands you two elegant hexagonal boxes.
Marina's going to take out the tiara and just wear it.
Oh, would you like me to arrange your hair around that? Would you like me to, and the milliner fusses around your hair, showing you how it might be elegantly displayed on your hair. And she then, is a little perplexed as to why you would like to wear such a nice tiara out into the street. But there you are.
There I am.
Now, after today's events, after you've done your shopping, it may be time for you to get some rest before tomorrow's events. Is there anything else you would like to do today before returning to the home of the Hamptons?
I think she'd like to take the scenic route, walk by the seaside, take the longer walk home, as she enjoys staying active, and she finds that the Hamptons keep her quite cramped inside.
So Marina takes a walk along the beautiful high walls at Brighton, and there's many people out strolling. It's a beautiful day, and it's September, and so the weather is still good before winter arrives. And as you're walking, you notice that there's a couple of older ladies ahead of you talking about Sir Jasper. Would you like to make a listen roll?
I would. That is an extreme success with 8 over 40.
You're excellent hearing.
It's because she put her hair up, and now it's not covering her ears anymore. She is amazed. She can hear so well. She will wear this tiara all the time now.
It is almost as if this horseshoe-themed tiara is a lucky tiara. For you can almost feel like you're standing next to these women as they talk and gossip about Sir Jasper. Oh, did you hear? I mean, Sir Jasper has been appearing more ill of late, and I mean, he's been avoiding everybody. I can't believe that he's throwing this party. I haven't seen him for months. Oh, yes, I haven't seen him around at all. I mean, since he inherited the manor, I mean, he just spends all his money and his time there, and he's redecorated the ballroom. I mean, the ballroom was extravagant to begin with. I can only imagine what it looks like now. But, did you know that I did not get an invitation? Oh, nor I. I think it's the height of rudeness that he did not invite us. I hear there's a hedge maze. And, it's quite famous, or infamous, should I say. Really? Apparently, did you hear that a servant committed suicide there in the late 1790s? Oh, no, I did not hear that, juicy little tidbit. My goodness, why don't more people know about it? We must keep it on the down low. But nobody wanted to go in there until the other year when I heard that he was renovating it with landscape architects. Nobody had been in there for years. And I mean, you know what they say. I mean, it might be haunted. Ew, I'm thoroughly glad that I am not going to this ball. And the ladies move on along the parade, and you're nearly at the Hampton House, and their conversation turns to more inane things like tiaras and hats. So you return to the Hamptons' house, and it's late in the day, and they demand your attentions for the entire evening. They're trying to teach you how to play a special type of whist, which is rather tedious and not very popular with the younger set. And you find yourself tired and heading to bed, ready for the next day's events.
Did they like my tiara, though?
They did remark on how magnificent the tiara is, although Mrs. Hampton had some concerns that you were spending your money on horse headgear for riding horses rather than actually buying a proper dress to wear to the ball tomorrow. So the next day you wake up and you know, it is another exceedingly lovely day, and before long you need to be out the front because Miss Harriet has arrived with her beau.
Ooh.
And on the morning of this fateful Saturday, this chase pulls up outside your house, and it is driven by a man in a red uniform who's sitting alongside Harriet. You see him, Harriet was right. He is quite dashing in his handsome red coat and militia uniform. And they both descend from the carriage to approach you. Oh, Marina, may I present Lieutenant James Wandsworth? And he bows deeply and looks at you intently. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is all mine, Lieutenant.
Shall we head to Thornhill Manor?
Well, I was going to say that after overhearing the conversation from the older ladies the night before, Marina had some dreams about what her future could look like with this mysterious and ill Sir Jasper. And she started wondering whether, in fact, marrying someone with a big estate who is morbidly ill is actually the best plan for her, as perhaps she might end up alone with an inheritance she can all use on horses. So if it's not terribly rude, she would like to take Harriet aside and tell her if they can actually do make a quick trip to the Modiste, just so that she can maybe pretend to be feminine long enough to secure her future with a person who might not be alive in the long run.
Oh.
No, she won't say the whole thing. She'll just say that she had a change of heart and she wants to do her best.
Oh, I am absolutely thrilled you've come around. Oh, I can't wait to be what would I be, your cousin, aunt? I'm not sure. Anyway, let us go to the Modiste.
I'm so thrilled we have the time.
Well, we will make a quick trip, the quickest trip that we possibly can, because I do not want to keep Lieutenant waiting, for he shall get rather antsy if we annoy him too much. Anyway, you head quickly to the Modiste, which is only walking distance from the Hamptons' house, and when you arrive, the Modiste just laughs at you a little. You want a dress for today? Because she's been preparing dresses for women for weeks for this ball, and many of them have been specially ordered. So the only dress that's left in the Modiste that is of an ample size for you is a rather frilly peach number.
Does it go with my tiara?
Somewhat. Look, it's a look. It's a look. Just don't tell anyone you got your outfit here. But it does make you look rather girly, as opposed to your usual attire of, ragged hem dresses and horse riding attire.
There's nothing I can do, is there, to convince her to draw something from the back?
Would you like to try? How would you go about this?
I will persuade her by telling her that this is the ball of the season, and I am due to potentially marry Sir Jasper himself. Would you like a design of yours to be seen at the ball, one of your good designs to make a good name for you, or this design so that when I mention that it's gone from here, no one visits you anymore for the fashion needs? And that's an attempt at persuasion.
I think you should make a persuade roll.
That is a hard success with a 24 under 60.
The Modiste is swayed, despite the appearances of this ragamuffin who likes horse riding. She's swayed by the argument. She cannot argue with the fact that, if the potential wife of Sir Jasper was wearing one of her gowns, the business would be enormous. And so she goes out to the back and says, "Wait here, young lady." And she pulls out one of the finest muslin dresses you've ever seen.
Yes.
And it's certainly much prettier than the one that you've got on and the peach one combined. And it is just, when you touch it, it's just the finest fabric. And it fits, as you try it on, it fits like an absolute glove. And it goes with your tiara.
Oh, that is what I wanted to hear.
I mean, it's so roomy and comfortable that you could even potentially jump on a horse at some point in this dress. It is the perfect dress.
Yes, this is perfect.
So you pay for it. Harriet thinks it's fabulous.
Oh.
But we should get back to my dear lieutenant. He's probably wondering where we are, and I don't want any comments from him about young ladies going shopping, because, I hear enough from him already.
I do apologize for the delay, but I also hope it was worth it. Let us go.
I think so. I think you will look smashing in that dress, and if Sir Jasper doesn't want to marry you in that, I don't know who will. So you go back to the carriage and, oh, ladies, you're back. Oof, I've been waiting here for half an hour. I mean, get in the carriage. And he appears a little gruffer than maybe you first saw him as. And you all hop in the carriage. And without a moment's notice, you're thrown back into the seat as he clicks the reins, and he is driving in between other carriages through the busy morning traffic of Brighton, dodging places, dodging workers as they go across the road. Someone has to jump out of the way with his cart of watermelons and they smash all over the ground. And you're holding on for dear life. Make a dex roll.
Oh, beautiful. That is a failure with a 47 under 50.
You're thrown into the wooden side of the carriage, and you can tell already as your arm kind of turns slightly yellow and purple that there's going to be a nasty bruise there right on your arm for the ball tonight. But he's driving like crazy. I mean, you're afraid for your life here.
Lieutenant Wandsworth, are you all right? Is this are we in a terrible rush?
Oh, what are you trying to tell me, woman? Are you trying to tell me how to drive this carriage? I'm in the militia.
But we are not. We are ladies, whether we like it or not, and we do bruise easily.
Make a charm roll.
I'm not trying to charm him, but here we are. That is an 81 over 15. Marina is not the charming type.
Oh, leave the carriage driving to the gentleman. That's, we know how to use horses properly. And he keeps driving like a maniac. And you and Harriet are, rolling all over this carriage. And it's making quite an impression on the Ton. And your reputations are slightly at risk if he doesn't slow down.
Okay. Let's see. I think I would turn to Harriet and say, Harriet, he likes you. Tell him to stop. I will drive. Anyone can drive better than this. He's going to hurt us. It's going to ruin our reputation. And my chances with Sir Jasper are going to be ruined if I'm covered in bruises.
Okay, Marina. I'll tell him. Lieutenant, please, we're just so delicate, we just are so delicate. If you don't slow down, you want us to look our finest for the ball tonight, don't you? Especially me, sweetheart. And she's like, oh, I cannot resist your charms, Miss Harriet. And he clicks the reins and slows down just a little bit, enough so that you're not careening around Brighton, and you do start to head out into the countryside. And Thornhill Manor is not far from Brighton; it's about an hour away, and the landscape opens up onto this beautiful farmland. And as you're going through the countryside, you do notice that Harriet shuffles a little closer to the lieutenant, little closer than what is potentially appropriate.
Goodness.
If there were older, wiser people here.
Are we like in? Can other people see, or is it just in front of me?
Maybe a couple of farmers, people who are not part of the Ton, so they're not. They might think it's a little odd and hoity-toity, but you can't be seen. You're out of Brighton now, so okay. You're riding through the countryside.
I mean, I don't like the lieutenant, but that doesn't mean I will judge them for whatever they're doing.
So you ride along for about an hour, and as you ride up, you begin to see the grand estate of Thornhill Manor, and it is sweeping as you pass the front gates, which have little gold tips on the ends of the wrought iron fence. You go up a lush driveway that leads to a fantastic estate.
Oh my goodness, that is a beautiful, beautiful house.
And you can see that there's 3 stories of this house with a colonnade out the front, and it's lavishly decorated with statues, and it's surrounded on all sides by formal gardens in the latest fashion, and there are braziers set up for the ball. And as you ride along in the carriage, so even some peacocks start to follow the carriage, and they're wearing these beautiful golden colours, and they're strutting around, and they start to go honk at the carriage as you're passing. But it is the most impressive manor that you've ever seen. Even Harriet stares agape, and she's, I have never seen Thornhill Manor so beautiful, and I live here. So, as you pull up to the drive, a footman opens the small open door and helps you down from the carriage. And the lieutenant jumps out and helps Harriet down by lifting her up and pulling her out. And it is again a little improper, and you notice the footman checking that behaviour, but obviously he can't see anything. But you're both shown into the hall by the footman, and the entrance hall is full of marble columns, and the whole of the ceiling is gilded with gold leaf, and it's more wealth than you've ever seen, Marina. And as you go deeper into the house, there are walls lined with silk coverings and paintings from years past, and They glisten in the sunlight, the September sunlight through the windows. It is a glorious spectacle. And as you approach the stairs, you spot the man himself, Sir Jasper Dulfray. So Sir Jasper Dulfray is a stern-faced man, and he, as reports have said, is a sickly-looking fellow who would be handsome were he not so unwell-looking. And he's got white skin and dark hair and has a kind of brooding intensity to him. But the most remarkable thing about his appearance at the top of the stairs is that he is in a state of semi-undress. He's wearing a coat over an open shirt, which, as you know, is certainly not the sort of thing that one would wear to greet the guests. It's almost akin to appearing in your pajamas and dressing gown.
That is concerning. I look at Harriet.
She's a little nervous because she's shaking her head a little bit, like maybe don't mention it. And as you're looking up at him, you catch a glimpse of a scowl on his face, which is directed at the lieutenant. But even as you're looking at it, it disappears in an instant. Make a psychology roll.
I will fail, but let's try it anyway. That is a 72/10, so no.
So, you're not so versed as your friend in the finer art of reading faces, and you just take it that he's a grumpy kind of guy.
I'd be grumpy if I was super ill, so fair enough.
So Jasper bows at you from the top of the stairs and says, "I apologise for my state of undress. I was not expecting visitors so early. Might I suggest, Harriet, that you take your friends on a tour of the house and grounds? I will join you once I have completed my ablutions." And as he says this, he looks upon you with an intense stare as if it is piercing right to your very soul.
Like I've done something wrong, or like a studying, or just... Is this some kind of courtship ritual I wasn't aware of?
It's a studying look, as if he's trying to make sense of you.
I think Marina is not easily scared, so she will meet the gaze.
And he tips his nose up at you, and you get the impression that he's made the measure of you now, and he storms off up into the rooms upstairs. Oh, don't mind him. I mean, obviously, that was not the best of first introductions, I will say, but he does grow with time. But please come with me, my dear friend, and let's go see my aunt, who might be more disposed to having visitors. So from here, you're ushered into a lavishly decorated drawing room. And, the marble mantelpiece is worth thousands of pounds alone. It's coated in gold leaf. And there's a fire going, and in front of the fire is the aunt that Harriet just told you about. And she's the aunt of both Harriet and Sir Jasper. May I present Catherine Dulfray, the Dowager Lady Dulfray. These are my friends, Marina, Garrick, and Lieutenant James Wandsworth, who is a good friend of Sir Jasper. The older lady nods her head at you and pulls her quizzing glass out. And it's a little spectacle. And she examines you. She looks down her nose at you with these little glasses on. It's like, Make a reputation roll.
I'd love to. That is a hard success with a 25 over 65.
Oh. You remind me of myself back in the day. Do you like horse riding?
I adore horse riding. Are there horses in the manor?
We do have several horses on site. If it were not for the arthritis, I would be out there now. I have several excellent race horses, and in my younger days was known to be quite the rider.
Marina is delighted, and she insists on a tour of the stables and wants to spend time with the aunt instead of grumpy Jasper.
So the aunt takes you on a tour of the stables, and she walks quite slowly because of her arthritis. But, this place, it has a fraught history, but I love it so. The rolling hills, the countryside, these beautiful horses, and of course, there is the maze. I did want to burn it down, but Sir Jasper does technically own this place. I am, merely a visitor in this family home. But he leaves much of the work here to me to manage the estate. Sir Jasper is not one for the day-to-day of things. He's quite a dreamer, a big picture sort of person. And he's also quite unwell, as you can see.
What is his ailment, if I may ask?
Well, that is quite the story, is it not? When he was younger, Sir Jasper was a lonely child. He had no companions his own age, and he was very fond of the family's dancing master, which is why he has such a reputation as a dancer. And he became quite skillful. He used to perform for the guests. I don't recall the name of the dancing master, but, Sir Jasper was very fond of him. And one summer, because he was quite a lonely child, he would go wandering, and one summer he went missing for 3 days. And we eventually discovered him in the centre of the hedge maze. He was near death, his skin was as cold as ice. And, he's been living here, but not with his parents. So we sent him back to his parents to recover. And he just hasn't been the same since. And I just, it's almost as if, something happened to him in that maze that changed him forever.
That same maze that I believe I was told a servant died in not that long ago.
Oh, the servant. We don't really talk about that, but I suppose I can tell you because you and I have such a kindred bond over horses. It's actually the dancing master was the one who killed himself in the centre of the maze. It's a tragic tale, really. He was the one who was blamed for Sir Jasper's brush with death, and his reputation took quite the blow. And I mean, he did love working here, but no respectable household would employ him anymore, and he tried to come back to work here, but he couldn't. I mean, we don't know why Sir Jasper was in the maze, but we know it had something to do with the dancing master. And the next day we found him hanged in the centre of the maze. And I mean, I'm not one to believe in ghosts and things like that, We're pragmatic sorts of women, are we not? But they say that his ghost haunts the family maze.
Goodness. I wonder what happened to poor Sir Jasper inside that maze, and why he insists on keeping it after all the pain it has caused him.
I do not know. It is beyond me. Whenever I try to broach the subject with the young man, I do not understand him. He does all sorts of strange things. I mean, he wants to put fireworks on, and they're so unsafe. And then he, wants to introduce a new dance at the ball, which is completely not done. And I need to tell the musicians, actually, that they should not be playing that wretched dance tonight, even if Sir Jasper commands it. But he marches to the beat of his own drum, Sir Jasper.
I do empathise with that.
Perhaps you and he... Oh, no, for I do not know about, my nephew's, proclivities. But you seem like the sort of girl who marches to the beat of her own drum as well. So I will leave you to that.
Do you... Well, I'm afraid any chance of anything progressing between the two of us seems unlikely. You should have seen the way he looked at me when we first met. I believe he wants nothing to do with me.
Oh, well, it's not always the way that first impressions are the last impressions. He could prove most agreeable. He's slightly intolerable in the mornings. So you return to the house, where the aunt takes her leave of you, and you go in to find Harriet and the lieutenant sitting rather too closely on the sofa in the drawing room, and they scuttle away from one another as soon as you come in. Oh, you're back. I suppose. Oh, how about we go and see the ballroom? Would you like to see the ballroom?
Of course, let us go see the ballroom.
So she takes you arm in arm and links arm, giggling, glancing back at the lieutenant. And the room just opens up like a cathedral, and you've never seen a more spectacular ballroom. And there's floor-to-ceiling mirrors along the walls. But what is quite stark is that the high ceiling has been painted with intricate illusions of the stars and planets. It all almost looks like it's moving itself. And it's empty now, but you can imagine how incredible it will look when there are dancers tonight. And then you hear some shouting. And the shouting comes from a corner where a small chamber quintet is setting up. You will play this one piece when we get it. I don't care. If you don't get any time to practice, you play that piece. If Sir Jasper commands it, then you will play it. And you notice that the flute player is very disgruntled and storms off to another room. And the band leader is just wringing his hands and shaking his head and trying to coordinate a practice with the remaining musicians.
Marina knows a little bit of piano, so she might go up and ask about the new song and whether she can see it if they have it.
Harriet takes you up and introduces you to the band leader again, and their name is Dr. Dallyworth. They are a large person who carries themselves with, high esteem due to the knowledge of their craft. And Dr. Dallyworth says, I would show you the music, but we haven't got the music yet. I'm sorry about that outburst that you saw there, but, all we need is the sheet music. We can sight read. We're all very experienced at playing with minimal practice, if that is what Sir Jasper wants. I'm very sorry, miss, that you had to witness that outburst from our flautist.
Well, it does seem short notice.
It is, but we are used to these kinds of things, being the experienced and skilled musicians that we are. Make a psychology roll.
Oh, I wish I could. Oh my goodness, I rolled a 2. That is an extreme success.
There's something about Harriet's, extroversion that's rubbing off on you, Marina. You're getting into the spirit of seeking out a husband in Sir Jasper and wearing these fancy dresses, and now you're just seeming so understanding of how people behave, and you can tell that despite their calm exterior, Dr. Dallyworth is very frustrated here, and Dr. Dallyworth keeps adjusting their powdered wig, and fiddling about things, and gives off a kind of almost a bit anxious countenance.
Is there something else that's wrong, Dr. Dallyworth? Is there something we could help with, perhaps? And she looks at Harriet.
Well, it's just this, that Sir Jasper has demanded that it gets played note for note perfect, and we do our best, but we cannot always guarantee, especially if we do not have time to practice the song. Practice makes perfect, as they say. But it really, I did overhear Sir Jasper playing something that sounded rather unmusical, and I'm very concerned that sometimes these gentlemen, they take it into their minds that they are musicians of a sort and write their own pieces and get us to play them, and they're not very musical and rather embarrassing, which I think is why the Lady Dowager is trying to get us not to play it. And herein lies the quandary, because I am stuck between the Lady Dowager and Sir Jasper, and of course I must do Sir Jasper's bidding, even though potentially I do not want to.
That sounds like such an impossible conundrum. We did have a dance lesson it wasn't it, Harriet, with Mr. Hubert Paddington, and he said that changing the sequence is unheard of, and well, we're not prepared for it. So I believe there will be many people in our position whose enjoyment of the ball is affected by these changes, these unexpected changes. I do believe that the dowager is correct.
That, miss, is the correct etiquette. I mean, I would hate for people to perceive our reputation as a poor one for playing such a discordant song. You know, my reputation as a musician and band leader is at stake. And I suspect that is where the flautist gets his frustration from too. We just want the evening to go well, and this song, if I can call it a song, Sir Jasper wants us to play, does not sound like any kind of dancing song or melody I have ever heard.
Well, one wonders whether the risk to your reputation is truly higher if you do perform this song as opposed to displeasing Sir Jasper that does this once.
You may be right, miss. We will keep on practicing our music. Thank you, young lady, for at least you have some confidence in us, and so perhaps we will try our best this evening and play it note perfect.
Oh, wait, that is not what I said.
Yeah, did you mean that so you shouldn't play it?
Yeah, I said that your reputation, if you play this discordant song, might get a larger hit than displeasing Sir Jasper this once. And I was like, wait a second.
Sorry, I thought you were encouraging me to play it. Well, I'm like, okay.
No.
Make a persuade roll.
Let's do it. Oh, no. Well, I actually only missed it for 8 points.
But it's still 8 points.
8
points of failure.
I don't actually have a luck score on my character sheet. But if I did, could I spend luck?
I would not be opposed to spending luck, but you need some luck to spend.
Should I roll my luck score?
I wonder. I think you should roll your luck score.
Let me see if I remember how to do it on Roll20. Is this correct? I have 65 as a starting luck.
Excellent.
And 65 minus 8 is 57, which is still very good. So we'll spend luck to succeed in this persuade roll.
You make a persuasive argument, young lady, that maybe we could tidy up Sir Jasper's music for him. You know, if he's written it himself, like maybe we could put our professional eye over it before we play it, so that it just harmonizes a little bit better for the dancing, as you see.
We will try to talk to him as well. I'm sure the poor man is ill, so I'm sure he will be so happy to see everyone having a good time, and he would be so distraught to, if you did play it note for note and the guests were displeased. He probably is struggling with his music writing because of his ill health, and he would be very grateful for you to do what you know is best for a successful ball.
You are a very thoughtful young lady, and I do wish you the best in this evening's festivities.
You too. Perhaps we'll see each other soon.
So you finish up talking to Dr. Dallyworth, and outside the windows you glimpse through the doors the fearful hedge maze, and its reputation precedes it, and you can see those high up like bushes of the hedge maze from that balcony.
Is Harriet still with me as well?
Yes, I am. I did hear your conversation with Dr. Dallyworth. I mean, I take it as practice not to get involved with the servants and the musicians. I mean, one must have standards. I mean,
Well, if I am to impress Sir Jasper with my dancing, the music has to be danceable. You understand?
that is true. That is true. Although I think you, my dear friend, have a few more issues to deal with, say your 2 left feet, before any kind of music can assist in dancing.
I am very good at dancing to good music. That, Mr. Hubert's class and this just does not inspire my very correctly placed feet.
Oh, okay. I look forward to seeing you dance this evening, my dear, and I do truly hope that you can impress my cousin. For surely he needs someone in his life before he treads this mortal coil.
He is very troubled, and that makes him more interesting to me. Did you know about the maze?
The maze. Oh, yes. I mean the maze. It's such a good place for hiding out with certain gentlemen. Such a good place to go.
Oh, no. It is haunted.
Haunted? I live here. I've never seen a ghost there in my life. Although they do. I've been inside. We might take a turn about it with the lieutenant if you so wish, before the sun goes down and before we must get ready for the ball.
Well, that does sound like a fun adventure, although I would insist on getting myself a pistol in case there are ghosts.
A pistol? My goodness gracious me, nobody is going to give you a pistol. Weren't we just trying to be more ladylike? And here you...
Well, my brothers taught me, and I just so love carrying a pistol out in nature. It makes me feel strong and capable of anything.
And at that moment, the lieutenant walks up. She's like, "What's this? Strong and capable of anything? Are you girls talking about me?"
Of course, Lieutenant. Who else could we be talking about?
Oh, yes. I tend to have this effect.
Are you competent with a pistol, Lieutenant?
I am in the military. Of course I am competent with a pistol.
I would love to be demonstrated. Perhaps go to the gun cabinet and be demonstrated all your wonderful skills later this afternoon.
Guns are not for silly young ladies. Guns are for men, manly men.
Oh, I understand. It is all right if you're not as competent as the military would require. I wouldn't want to put you in a position of being unimpressive with a firearm. Forget I asked.
Yes, well, yes, if you must know, my reputation with a firearm is exceedingly high. Oh. Now, what were we doing, Harriet? What are we whittling away that afternoon? It's all very foolish business. We were going to go into the hedge maze. Let us go there, and Marina thinks there's some kind of ghost in there, so we could go and look for the ghost.
But if only there was some gentleman with a pistol and competence in firearms to protect us in case there was a ghost.
Oh, well, you have asked the right lieutenant. Stand by and follow me. And he walks out the doors that lead onto the patio and down towards the hedge maze. And Harriet is quick to follow alongside him, and you trail a little bit behind them as you go into the hedge maze. And the hedge maze is quite tall. It's taller than even the lieutenant, or you can't see over the top of it. And Harriet and the lieutenant kind of begin to run around the corners, and as you're following them, you can't, you begin to lose your way in the maze, and you lose track of Harriet and Lieutenant's footfall. And you hear some giggles from time to time from different areas in the maze, but you can't quite make out where it's coming from. And after some time, you find yourself lost in the hedge maze.
That happened fast.
And it starts to get a little chilly in your dress, and it feels almost like it could potentially snow.
That is unusual.
It is unusual because you know that it is September, and this sort of weather doesn't usually happen in Brighton's regions in September. So, as you're walking around the maze and trying to figure out how to get out of here, you see a tall figure dressed in smart black clothes. Do you have fashion or history?
I have history 5 and fashion 10, so let's go with fashion.
Well, you've been improving your fashion skills because you've got a horse-themed tiara and a beautiful muslin dress, so you can have a bonus die for this one.
Oh, goodness, thank you. So I roll it, I failed, but with a bonus die, I also failed.
So your fashion sense still quite isn't up to scratch.
It's men's fashion, who cares?
So you do think that it looks a little out of fashion. It looks a little old, those clothes. And you realise that as you approach, the figure bows to you.
Ooh, the ghost.
It is the ghost. It is a phantom, and with no eyes. There's just 2 piercing black holes where the eyes were, but still at least slightly transparent, and he bows to you in the most polite manner. He is a dancing master, after all. I think you should roll sanity.
Okay. I failed with a 91 over 55.
So you lose 1d4 sanity.
Oof. That is a 4.
Thankfully, it is not a 5.
It is not.
So you're rattled. You're very rattled by seeing this ghost. I mean, you've never seen a ghost before. Do you even believe in ghosts?
I didn't think so, but now I'm starting to wonder.
So it's very chilly, and you start to shiver, and a freezing wind begins to rise around, buffeting the trees and the wind in the maze. And the dancing master, it's almost as if he's dancing through the passages, gesturing for you to follow.
I'd like to probably leave because I am terrified of what I've seen, and I'm going to try and follow my footsteps away from this maze.
So you begin to run in the opposite direction to the dancing master, and he holds his hand out for you to wait. Are you still going to run? Are you running?
I take a brief pause and I look at him and I just say, "What do you want?"
And he begins to walk through the steps of a dance. It seems that all he wants to do is dance.
He's not talking.
He does not talk. He does not say anything. All he does is step through. You can recognize that he's stepping slowly through a dance, these footsteps in his ghostly footsteps.
Well, Jasper went to the middle of the maze and then he became ill forever and this guy died, so I'm sorry if I'm not interested in your dance steps. And I'm going to run away because dancing with a ghost makes no sense to me.
You run. You run through the passages, not knowing where you're going, just trying to follow the way out. You've been very rattled by this vision of this dancing master and his piercing, hollow eyes boring into the back of your head. And as you're running, you run straight, smack bang into the chest of Sir Jasper.
Okay.
Miss Garrick, what are you doing here without a chaperone?
I lost my chaperone because this maze is haunted, and I wish you had said something about that in advance. You see, I talked to your aunt, and... Oh, goodness, Sir Jasper, what is happening? I feel like I know you far better than I actually know you, and you seem to hate me, and I don't understand why, and... Well, I'm very rattled by meeting your old dance master, and I'm just... I guess I'm babbling because I'm very confused about what is going on, and I can't quite believe what I'm experiencing. Is this a dream? Maybe pinch me?
Miss Garrick, hold yourself together. And Sir Jasper looks a little shaken at the mention of the dancing master. Roll a psychology.
Well, I succeeded last time, so why not this time? 23 over 10, so unfortunately not.
Well, you're so rattled still that you don't really notice that he kind of twitches at the sound of the mention of the dancing master. And he straightens his back and pats you on the shoulders at a distance, very polite distance. You seem rather faint. Have you drank enough water or consumed some victuals this afternoon? You seem very, very disturbed by whatever you saw in here. There is no ghost. It's but a myth.
Then why are you preserving the maze you got lost in for 3 days and then became ill from?
I do not wish to talk of these things with you. I do not know you well enough to discuss them.
Well, your aunt seems to think that it has shaken you and that perhaps there is a ghost in there. The ghost of your dancing master that you're trying to keep close. But
the dancing master was a great man. I do not wish to discuss his death with you.
Well,
it was unfortunate.
Miss Harriet and the lieutenant are lost in there, and maybe they're having a terrible time because, well, I haven't heard any good stories associated with the maze, so something terrible might happen to them if we leave them there.
Miss Harriet and the lieutenant are at the front of the maze looking for you. And if I hear one more thing about those two spending more time together, my blood is already boiling.
I do believe they're very inappropriate with each other. They honestly should talk to your aunt, because she probably already knows.
They will get together with my dead body.
Is there a reason why you don't approve of the lieutenant besides his carriage driving?
His reputation is... He claims to be a friend of mine, but I have heard things about his reputation.
What things? Perhaps I can talk to Harriet myself. She listens to me.
It is not appropriate for him to be with a young woman of my cousin's standing.
Is it just his standing, or has he done deeds that call to his reputation?
So Jasper is not easily persuaded to give up information, so you're going to need to tell me how you're going to try and get this out of him.
I mean, if he wants them not together anymore. I've already said that Harriet listens to me, so I could help out with that. And I think I'm just going to seem very like I know what I'm talking about, and I hope that he just sees that I want what's best for Harriet, and also that I'm no nonsense in general. I don't think I have anything else to go on.
So make a hard persuade roll.
All right, let's see. That is a success, but it's not a hard success, and it will take how much? 23 points to make hard, and that's quite a lot. So I feel like I have failed.
Did you want to push the roll?
Ooh, I could push the roll, but it's a hard success, so I think that is actually probably a terrible idea.
So
I think I might leave it for now. The lieutenant's reputation sounds like interesting, but not that interesting in the grand scheme of things. I think I wanted to ask about the music next.
So Jasper just shakes his head at the mention. The lieutenant is visibly annoyed by his presence and certainly not impressed by his behaviour towards his cousin. You wanted to ask about the music.
Yes. I heard the band are working on a new piece you wrote.
And his demeanour completely changes. He's very... All of a sudden, it's almost like his face is flush with colour and he's excited. His eyes light up and his attention is on you in a way that you had not expected from such a dour and curt man. The song, the music, the dance. Oh, it shall be glorious. It will be a dance that no one shall ever forget. Shall you dance it tonight? Will you dance?
Well, I'm afraid I have been only prepared for the traditional dances, and I've been told that a change in sequence is most unusual. It must be something truly exceptional to justify breaking such ballroom etiquette.
Oh, well, yes, it is a spectacular dance, a dance that will make the season, it will set the season alight.
May I ask
And
for
I
your
cannot...
inspiration for this dance?
My inspiration for this dance. It comes from the stars above, the voice, the music of the cosmos. It comes from a place beyond the stars. If that seems romantic to you, then perhaps it has been inspired by the great romantics. But yes, it is a song that transcends all things.
I did notice the ballroom with the stars and the planets above looked wonderful. Is that to complement the song?
It is. I have had the ceiling repainted into a glorious array. And you think back to the stars above in the ballroom, and do you have any kind of astronomy skills?
Let's see.
Son?
I only have 1 in natural philosophy, so no.
So you don't think much of it apart from it's some stars on the ceiling. But yes, he's visibly excited by this discussion of the music and the dancing and the stars.
Well, could I get a preview, perhaps, of the dance and the song? So that I can practice and then I can be really good at it during the ball.
Well, I don't know that it's quite ready just yet. I would be thrilled if you would dance with me in this last dance. Perhaps I might request the last dance in your card, so that we may dance this dance together.
I would love to, if I could take some time to practice. I don't want to embarrass you by performing the incorrect steps. I've never even heard of what this dance is.
When the dance happens, let the spirit take you, and we shall dance. And you will not need to even think of where to place your feet.
I don't know that anything quite works that way. Everything I have learned and everything I've mastered in my life, I put practice in.
Have you not ever been so consumed by the spirit of music that you did not know which way you were facing or where you were or what was happening? So entranced by the song that you lost track of time itself? Have you not experienced that?
I suppose I do feel like that sometimes when I'm riding a horse.
I suppose you sound very much like my aunt, who enjoys horses far too much.
Your aunt is a lovely lady.
She is a fine woman, but she does not see eye to eye with my passion for music. And for that, I cannot forgive her.
The world is a better place when we're not all the same.
But is it? But is it?
Will you tell me what happened in the maze, Sir Jasper? Does it have to do with the sky and the stars? I've exercised my persuade. It's a failure.
I do not speak of that time with anybody, not even for someone who shares the passions of the sky and the stars and the song. If you will excuse me, I must prepare myself for this evening's festivities, as must you, I suspect. You do have another dress, do you not?
She's speechless.
And he strides off towards the house in his, in his strapping riding boots and debonair attire. And you rejoin Harriet and Lieutenant, who are at the entrance to the maze, and they, Harriet says to you, Oh, we couldn't find you in there anywhere. Thank goodness my cousin didn't, find us first. Did you want to see... I think it's about time that we started getting ready for the ball. It's getting quite late in the day then. The sun is going down, and I suspect the guests will start arriving at any moment now. Did you want me to show you to your room so that you may get ready for the ball?
Please, that sounds wonderful indeed.
So once you're shown to your room, she leaves you to tidy up. And the room is simple but comfortable, furnished with a wooden framed single bed and a dressing table with a wash basin.
I think Marina's quite confused about everything that's happened today. She has seen a ghost, literally. And she hasn't fully processed that. And then she bumped right into Sir Jasper, who was being really strange and secretive and talking way too much about the star and sky and dancing, but in a way that kind of was quite unnerving, I feel. Not that kind of normal. Oh, she doesn't know a lot of people who are that passionate about dancing, so maybe that's how all of them speak, but the dancing teacher didn't really talk like that. So I think she's going to lie on the bed and take some time to process for a bit. See if there's any details that she's seen around the house that come back to her head about what might be happening. And then, she will get ready.
So you lie down on the bed. It looks really comfortable, but when you lie down, you feel like a lump in your back, kind of rectangular lump under the mattress.
Goodness. I'm very curious about that. That is not a way to treat your guests.
You look under your mattress and you find the source of this bothersome, crick in the back is actually an old diary. And as you open it, it's written in a child's hand. And there are 4 entries, all dated 1795. And it kind of appears like the child lost interest and forgot about the diary soon after starting. So I'll bring that up on the screen.
It's very exciting.
So I'll read those out. So the 3rd of July, 1795. Such a wonderful lesson today. I was taught the final steps of a Catalonian dance that the dancing master says will be the toast of town next season. He says I am natural when it comes to dancing. I know I will never grow weary of dancing. On the 8th of July, 1795. The dancing master said my poise was most excellent. During our lesson, I noticed he had one of the books from Uncle Hugo's study, that one with the peculiar symbol on the cover written by some dusty old ancestor. When I asked him about it, he told me that there is knowledge available to all who know where to look for it. How wise he is! On the 10th of July, 1795, I managed to sneak into Uncle Hugo's study and find the book. Imagine my surprise when I found not 1, but 2 new dances in the book alongside my notes in my dancing master hand. How impressed with me will he be if I show him a dance he doesn't expect me to know? I made a copy and will head to the maze, away from my grim old aunt, to work through the steps.
Curious. It's all coming together.
Yes. And do you have any impressions of this diary?
Well, this is clearly little Sir Jasper. And
it is indeed the young Sir Jasper's diary. Very excited about dancing.
Yeah, and it seems to end right before he disappeared in the maze for 3 days. So it seems very relevant. The dance sequence might be the dance sequence the ghost was trying to teach me, which I'm not very happy about, but I'm not going to think about ghosts right now because I would like to, instead of spending too long getting ready, try to find Uncle Hugo's study. Maybe I'll ask the dowager.
Will you get ready first, or will you kind of just...
I mean, I only have 1 dress and 1 tiara. There's not much to get ready.
So you get into your fine muslin dress in under a minute flat. Off with 1 dress, on with the next one. Don't even need a lady's maid. And you plonk the tiara on your head and make an etiquette roll.
Goodness. Well, is there a lady's maid in the room? Oh my goodness, that's a 95 over 41.
So you really don't care.
No.
You've got this fine dress and this fine tiara, but there isn't so much that you actually know to do with them apart from put them on. So, your hair's a little bit unruly to one side. But you've got better things to do, like find the study.
Yes.
So you said that you would go to see the aunt.
Unless there's an easy way to make it to Sir Hugo's study, but I'm assuming not.
Well, did you want to have a poke about some of the rooms nearby your bedroom?
On my way to find the aunt, I will be poking about, yeah.
Yes, so you find yourself having a look around. There's a couple of bedrooms that are unoccupied. There's a small library, and then across the balcony, you open the door and you see that there is a library. You and you poke your head in, and inside it's so quiet. It's a study, and the air feels very musty, and as if someone's lived in here. It's kind of got this strange smell of cologne and sweat and body odor. But the room is surrounded by floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, and they're dusty and untouched. And in the centre of the room are a chaise lounge and a short table. And the table has a tray holding a barely touched meal, which, is kind of just sitting there getting probably cold on the table. There's a few bottles of wine around. And on one of the walls, though, you note that scratched into the plaster are the words, "Tread carefully." And by the window next to this wall, the curtains are drawn, so there's not a lot of light in here. There is a pianoforte with papers all over it, with scribbled out musical staves in a spidery hand.
Ooh, that sounds like the music.
It does sound like the music.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to have a look at this music?
I think I would, and then I'd be looking for the strange book about the stars and the dancing. But first, I'll check the music, yeah.
So you look at the music, and on the music sheets are the words, "These terpsichoreans in ecstatic pleasure did perish." And it's just written over and over and over again. But you can, because you have some piano skill, you can read the music. It is music that you could play.
I think I'd be curious. I'd try to play it.
Okay, so make a piano roll or art and craft roll.
That is a 92 over 40, so I guess I will fail to play it.
And you lose 1 MP
Ooh.
by playing this piece of music. And as you're playing it, sight reading it poorly, your vision swarms and you begin to see a desolate, war-torn vista with death and decay all around. And it's as if the whole world is decaying. After seeing this beautifully vivid landscape this afternoon, the whole world is melting and in fire and brimstone. And you feel like your heart is crushing with despair. Make a sanity roll.
I would love to. A success. That's nice.
Success. So you lose 1d2 sanity.
Goodness.
It is not an easy thing that you have just witnessed.
I lost 2. Always the maximum.
So you've heard this music, and this music is so discordant. It's much like Dr. Dallyworth had said. It does not sound like anything you'd hear at a local dance, let alone even try to dance to it. It's just something completely unnatural. And you do notice amongst these papers and on these things a sigil that is repeated much the same way as the lines, the words about the terpsichoreans. There's a sigil that keeps being repeated, and you begin to be able to see this sigil in the floor and the curtains and the patterns, and written on the books and in ink and in tile all around this room. And you've realized that you've seen it all throughout the manor, and it is this sigil. It's a sigil that kind of looks like a 6-pronged fork with 2 lines upon the top. And then amongst all of that, amongst the music that you were just playing, you do see a sheet of dancing notation.
Above it?
Well, you see it amongst all the pieces of paper, and you can see it is a new dance by Sir Jasper Dulfray, presented on the occasion of the Thornhill Manor Ball, and it contains musical notation of what you were just playing and a dancing chart that looks suspiciously like the sigil you've seen all throughout the manor.
And how much time is it before the ball now?
It is, you look at a clock nearby and it's just tolling 7, which means that people are arriving now and the dancing will commence shortly. So it might be time that you have to get downstairs in order to attend the ball.
Yeah, so what I was saying was after she's had all these experiences with the ghost and the despair feelings about this music and how strange Sir Jasper is being, and she has this really bad feeling about all this. She can't quite put her finger on what is happening, but she knows that this music and this dance are ghost related, bring dread. She doesn't like them. She doesn't have any good reason why she would want people exposed to them, and she doesn't like authority anyway. So assuming that this is the sheet music that he was going to give the orchestra, she's going to destroy everything, all the paper she can find here that relates to the music and the dance.
All right. So how are you going to do that?
I'm assuming there's no fires anywhere nearby. There's
a fireplace downstairs where you met the aunt in the drawing room. There's no fire in the study itself. It's just very dank and unaired. But so you would need to take the papers down to the drawing room, and that's downstairs where the guests are arriving. So the guests will be arriving through the entrance hall, and you would need to pass through the kind of central stairwell and the entrance hall, all the ballroom to get to the drawing room, which has the fire.
I see. That's quite tricky, isn't it? If I cut it in little pieces, would it fit inside my gown? I know that in Regency they had those like pockets that are inside your gown that you're wearing like an apron.
They did. You may also have a reticule if a small purse if you make a luck roll.
Let's do it. That's an extreme success with a 9 and a 57.
So you indeed, when you purchased this muslin dress, you indeed picked up the largest reticule you could possibly find, because you had thought that you might be carrying around a pistol and a riding crop and a few other gadgets that you thought you might need today. And so you have this rather void reticule, which you could fit several sheafs of paper in there. You couldn't fit it all in your reticule, but you could put some paper in there.
What if I cut it into little pieces? Could I get I'd cut all of it into pieces anyway, and then I want the most usable stuff.
The piece that you have is probably the most useful. The rest looks like rough drafts. There's lots of stuff scribbled out, whereas this looks like the finished piece of music.
I'd like to also destroy the most recent drafts, because I don't want him to go back and be able to copy it again.
So you rip all those pieces of paper to shreds, and you tear them up into teeny tiny little pieces, and they make a very satisfying ripping sound as you tear them and put them into your reticule.
And the rest of them I'd like to like hide behind a dusty bookshelf or something so that it looks like someone took them rather than they've been destroyed on the spot.
Okay, so you clean up all the things on the harpsichord. It's looking a lot neater than it was, and you stuff them behind, behind some books, behind a really large dusty tome, and you.
Is that relevant?
Well, make a library use roll.
Well, I will fail this because I do not read. Yeah, that's a 91 and a 20. So they all look the same to me. How am I ever supposed to find a specific book when everything looks old and dusty?
All these books look the same. They have the same title, Relique Britanniae, on the shelves, and they don't look very interesting, and they're all really fat and probably have lots of words in them. So who reads in Call of Cthulhu? So you do notice that there is a wooden lectern in one corner of the room, and it does have the same sigil on it, which is that kind fork symbol. But it just all looks a bit gobbledygook to you. They all look like books, don't they?
They all look like books, and I can't be reading right now.
So you have all this music stuffed into your reticule, which is now very full. What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to go to the drawing room and see if I can burn it. Very casually.
Okay, so the room is starting to fill up. You have to pass through. Are you going to go through the ballroom or through the entrance hall? You have to go through one of them to get to the drawing room.
Do I hear music?
You do hear music. You do hear the kind of the band starting to tune up and play the first song. It's a classical music piece that sounds very harmonious. It doesn't sound like the music that you played on the piano.
In which case, probably from the entrance hall, as I'm assuming most people will be congregating in the ballroom at this point.
So there are still people arriving, the fashionably late, as they would say, and you can see the carriages pulling up through the open doors, and you pass the fashionable ladies, and you do spot Harriet and the lieutenant in that crowd kind of looking around for you, to see where you are. Make a stealth roll.
Let's do it. That's a hard success, 15 under 40.
So you still, despite like they're searching for you, despite that, because of the crowds, you manage to blend in, because Harriet is still thinking of you as her kind of friend with the rough hems and the unruly hair, and here you are, almost a vision of beauty with your tiara and your muslin dress, and so you blend in amongst the hoi polloi and the well-to-do, and sneak past them into the gallery where generations of the Dulfrays stare down at you. You go through the gallery and into the drawing room, and you find there the fireplace, and you take the pieces of paper from your purse. Are you going to burn them up in the fireplace?
Yeah, I definitely make sure that no one can see me. And then I burn them up.
Yep. So just make a spot hidden roll before you burn them up.
That's a hard success, 20 under 50.
So you look around and you don't see anything, but you do notice just the shoe of a man who's tapping his foot in time with the music. And you realise in a tall armchair near the fireplace is sitting Sir Jasper.
Well, that's unfortunate.
He's like, "Do you not hear the music, my dear? What brings you to the drawing room at this time of night?"
I was looking for your aunt.
My aunt, yes. Yes, my aunt. She is, not sure where my aunt is, but shall we join the ball? Shall we dance the cosmic dance of the night?
I thought you said that was the last dance.
Yes, but I need to work up my dancing skills, you see. I need to dance into the evening, and I need to give some music to the musicians before they play tonight.
No, they don't have it yet. That's going to be a challenge for them to learn it, to do it
I
perfectly.
have all faith in the doctor that they might play the music perfectly before this evening ends.
Well, why don't you go and fetch it, and I'll meet you at the dance floor.
Make a persuade roll.
That is an extreme success. 10 under 60.
Yes, maybe I shall. I shall then indeed see you on the dance floor and ready for our last dance. And he leaves the drawing room through the ballroom, and you're left alone.
Quick burn. Quick burn.
You throw pieces of paper like confetti into the fireplace, and as it burns up, it flames with a silvery, unearthly flame. It's almost as if it's burning with a kind of chemical mixture. So you've burned up that music. And it just hisses and pops in the fireplace as it burns, and you just watch it crisp to black until none of it is left. Beautiful. Yes. So what are you going to do now?
I will definitely clean any remaining ashes around. Just make sure that there's no trace, and then go to the ballroom.
And you go into the ballroom, and you see that the room, the musicians are playing, and the ball is in full swing, and there's beautiful dancing going on. It's very harmonious. And across the room, you see that Harriet is with the lieutenant, and they're slipping away out the door towards the maze.
Oh goodness. I'd like to follow Harriet, because she was looking for me earlier, and it's only right that I make myself known.
So you push through the crowded room along the edges so that you don't interrupt the dancing, and you hurry towards the windows and out onto the patio and towards the maze. And you see them slip into the maze. And it's quite dark now, and as you're following them, you start to hear Harriet's voice. No, stop! I didn't ask for this. Stop!
Yeah.
And you hurry further and further into the maze, and you see that you get to the center of the maze, and you see Harriet there, the poor girl, caught under the embrace of the Lothario lieutenant, and he's got his hands over her, and she's in his grasp, and the top of her dress is ripped in an intelligent and delicate manner, and she's like, Marina, help me!
Now, You briefly mentioned earlier something about having a pistol in my bag.
Yeah, that was a hypothetical pistol. It's a finger pistol.
Is it? Okay, because it sounded to me like you said I brought my pistol and my riding
The intention
crop.
was that you bought a handbag that could fit a pistol and a riding crop in it, but it does not contain it, which is why you were able to fit so much paper in there.
I see.
Yeah.
In which case, I'm just going to grab him and pull him away from her.
The lieutenant turns around at your touch. He's like, "Who is this? Who is this man you've brought with you? You should have left us alone." Make it a spot hidden roll.
Hard success, 15 out of 50.
You feel the air becoming icy cold, and looking behind you, you see the dancing master looming large. The dark pits of his eyes burn, and he lunges at the lieutenant, who flees in fright out through where you came from in the maze, pursued by the dancing master.
I'm not too sad about that. If you're gonna ghost at the bad guy. Harriet, we have to go. We have to go. Follow me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Oh, I cannot believe what a fool I've been. That man, he was so in awe. I thought he loved me and all he wanted. Oh, I cannot even think about it.
We can never trust a man again.
No.
And Sir Jasper wants to hurt everyone here at the ball, and we have to go. I believe I have stopped him for now.
No.
Let us go to a carriage.
A carriage. Oh, but okay. But what about my aunt?
Well, your aunt. Nothing's going to happen to the people. There's no music, so nothing will happen to them. We're just going to go and bring help, and then return, and then we're going to take care of this at some other point.
Okay. Let's get out of here. Let's go to the stables. They won't see us there.
Yes. Then we can ride.
We can ride until this whole place is behind us, and as you're running, you run out of the maze and you run along the patio, and people are looking at you strangely at these two young women who are acting extremely improperly, running around at Spall, and just as you're running towards the stables, you hear a scream pierce the night.
What kind of
It's
scream?
A scream. A fearful, blood-curdling scream of a woman.
And where is it coming from?
From upstairs, an open window upstairs. Perhaps in one of the bedrooms near where...
Can we see anything?
You can see some movement in one of the rooms. Make a... Oh, Marina, can look, and you see movement in one of the windows upstairs, and it's actually, it's my aunt's bedroom. There's something going on in there.
Oh no. Okay. Harriet, you go to the stables and you prepare the horses, and I'll go get your aunt, and I'll be right back. Do you know if there are pistols anywhere on the ground?
No, I've never touched a pistol in my life.
Shed?
Maybe in the I don't know. Maybe in the housekeeper's cottage, or the gaming room. The gaming room. It's where all the men's things are. They keep the rifle on the wall.
Yes. Very well. It will have to do. And she will run to the gaming room on her way upstairs.
So you're running through the ballroom and, you're in a state of distress. People are staring at you. You're interrupting the dancing. Make a reputation roll.
That is a success, 53 under 65.
You're so fast that people just look at you and bat an eyelid and continue with their dancing. And you go straight through the stairwell, straight through the entrance hall, down to the gaming room where you find a group of gentlemen are playing billiards. They're like, "What are you doing in here, young lady?"
No time. Excuse me. I'll be right. I'll be back. I'll return this. And then she grabs, ideally a pistol, but if there's no pistol available, the rifle.
Make a luck roll.
Let's do it. That's a 93 under 57.
So you didn't want to spend the luck or push the roll?
I can't spend luck on luck, unfortunately. Otherwise
that's
I would
true.
love to. Or nor can I push luck.
I didn't know that was actually. See, I've learned something today. Editor, please cut this conversation out.
People must not know you learned something. It's not that.
So you grab the hunting rifle from the wall of the gaming room, and all the gentlemen are just staring at you like you're an utter maniac. And make another reputation roll.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That is a hard success, 21 under 65.
The gentlemen shrug and get back to their billiards room after all. They've seen crazier things in the rooms at the Ton, when people have a little too much to drink. Ha ha. She must be having a good night. Ha 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 ha. As you, with your rifle in hand, you run back to the entrance hall. And again, your reputation is severely at risk here. Make another reputation roll as everybody who is still in the entrance hall sees this young lady running around with a rifle.
That is a hard success. 32 out of 65.
They know that Marina is clearly the kind of girl that does this all the time, and they just put it down to her terrible upbringing and know that she will never be marrying any son of theirs, but it is none of their business if you're running around with a rifle. And you run up the stairs and into the aunt's room where the terrible lieutenant is standing above the aunt with black eyes, and she's managing to kind of fend him off with a poker, but she's on her last legs. Her arthritis is playing up, and he's upon her and attacking her with a knife.
Oh my goodness. I will aim the rifle at him, ready it, and say, "Step back!"
And the lieutenant looks up at that, and his eyes are black, and it's just like, "Hear the beat of the drums, hear the beat of the drums, you shall dance for me." And he turns his attentions to you with a knife. Okay, so you are pointing that rifle at the lieutenant, and you have surprised him. So make a rifle or firearms roll with a bonus die.
I was hoping it would be a pistol because I have 55 in pistol, but I'll have to deal with a base rifle, which is 25. Hopefully the bonus die will help. Failure, but bonus die, the same. All right.
So
failed.
You fire the rifle, but it misses and shoots through the window. The glass shatters, and it's enough for him to look up and turn his attention to you with his knife. And he I'm so used to running this with three investigators. So you've had your turn. He'll go next. You'll have your turn. Okay. And he moves.
The aunt might also want to help me. She has a poker,
she
right?
does have a poker.
I'll say, "Dowager, help, please, please." Get him.
But first, she's on the ground, so she'll need to get herself up first. She's been attacked, so he goes first, and he moves toward.
Take your
claws you
time.
with the knife. And I'm going to throw a roll. And I have rolled, I believe, I have rolled 3 zeros. And that would be...
Oh, that's great. That's a fumble. Yeah. That's great news for me. Can I fight back?
You can fight back because he has massively fumbled that and he's tripped over his own feet. Even though he is possessed with the spirit of the dancing master, this body of Lieutenant James Wandsworth is not a dancing man. And so the mind is going in one direction and the body is going in another and he trips all over. And you can fight back.
I'd like to hit him with the butt of the rifle in the eye.
Okay.
Or in the head, or whatever I can aim. Is that
I would say that's a brawl.
All right, let's see. That is a success. 40 under 50.
40 under 50. And you bring that butt of the rifle up under his nose and it cracks with a loud and searing crack. Roll for damage.
What would you say is butt of rifle damage?
I would say that's the same as like a blackjack. So that's a 1d8 plus damage bonus.
Nice. What is my damage bonus? Ooh, 1d4. That is 8 damage.
So he's
I think I killed the man.
He's down, but he's not out. He staggers back. This is a military man you're dealing with, after all. He is a strapping man, and he's quite strong. So he staggers back, clasping out his nose, and he's even more enraged. And the dancing master says, "You shall dance the dance of the starry skies above tonight, I swear it." And it is again your turn, because you were fighting back.
I was, so it's my turn again. Can I... So where did the aunt find the poker?
She must have brought it from her fireplace.
Is it within reach?
You can make a maneuver to reach it.
I don't want to spend my turn reaching it. If I can't reach it and attack at the same time, I'm not interested.
The dancing master / lieutenant is standing between you and that poker.
Okay, in which case I'm gonna smack him again in the head with a bite of the right. Oh, actually, is he on the ground?
He's staggered back. He's a little bit like hunched over, but he's not off his feet yet.
How many bonus dice do I get if I shoot at him? Because he's next to me on the ground.
Well, you have a rifle flintlock and it only has 1 bullet in the gun. So unless you've got more bullets, your flintlock days are over.
Oh, it's done. Okay, I'm going to smack him with the butt again in the face.
So you smack him, like you swing the back of the rifle like a club and you take a swipe at his jawline. Make a brawl roll.
Do we get a bonus die because he's down?
I don't think so.
Does he get a penalty die because he's down?
I'm just checking the rules. I don't think so. It depends on the level of success, right? Because I've got to roll for him. Let's just make the brawl roll. I'm going to make a brawl roll and we'll see where we're at.
Okay. Oh, I failed.
What level of failed? Like what number?
76 under 50.
Okay. So you both you swing, but he manages. The spirit of the dancing master pulls him back just in time. That dexterity of his footwork pulls him back just in time. He runs for you again with his knife, intending to slice you, so that you might embody the spirit of the dancing master. You look like you have much better feet for dancing.
Goodness.
So I'm going to make a brawl roll. Oh, that is...
I'm going to try and fight back.
Yes. So that is a...
I got a success.
I'm checking his level of success. What level of success did you have?
Normal for now, but I'm considering spending luck if needed.
So he's got a normal level of success as well. So he attacks you and manages to slice the sleeve of your boot.
No. I'm going to spend 14 luck to get a hard success.
Oh, sorry, I missed that bit. Yeah.
It's okay.
Man, the editor's going to have fun with this one. So you spend 14 luck to get a hard success and fight back, and you succeed in knocking the knife away and brushing his arm to the side so that he again is off kilter from those attacks that you've already done. It's your turn now. What are you going to do?
I'm going to stab him with the knife.
So you're going to pick up the knife that's out of his hands and slash at him in one move. Make a brawl roll.
That's a hard success, 20 under 50.
But he manages to duck out of the way. He is an extremely nimble man inside of this big and burly lieutenant. And then he is just going to reach for the poker and grab that from the aunt.
What is the aunt doing? She must have gotten up by now. Aunt, get with the program. This is serious.
And the aunt does get up, and they are fighting between one another for this poker. I'm going to roll for the aunt and for him. Ooh, the dowager Lady Dulfrey.
Go, dowager! You show him who's the boss, who runs this house.
And neither of them succeed, pushing them both away like a magnet. And the poker clatters to the ground as both of them, like a tug of war, drop it at the same time, and leaving the poker on the ground, and you free to attack once more.
Okay. I'll put the knife really quickly in my massive bag that is completely empty.
That will be one turn. And then that cannot be 2 moves. That is one turn to put your knife in your purse.
Is it do I have to move things around to get in there? Or it's not as easy as dropping it in?
I feel like that's a move to open it up, put the thing in there. That gives him time to come and attack you.
Fine, in which case I'll just stab him.
So you are going to stab him once more. Make a brawl roll.
That is a failure.
Okay.
But not a fumble. But very close. But not. This is a weird standstill we have here.
He also is still suffering and is oh, you've rolled a 98.
It's not a fumble.
Isn't it? I thought 90.
Only if you have a skill under 50. If you have 50 or more, only 100 is a fumble. So I'm just saying.
Some skillful rules there, Phaedra. I see what you did there. This is why it pays to know the Call of Cthulhu rulebook. So you fumbled. You've missed, and he's also kind of still staggering around trying to reach for that poker. But he manages to pick it up and heads for you with that weapon, swinging, and he absolutely misses because the aunt, in a desperate measure, jumps onto his back.
I love that. Go, Auntie. Can I try to fight back? If
you can try to fight back, yes.
Okay, I failed anyway. Go, auntie.
Yes, but he's such an abject failure that the auntie is clinging to his neck and he's roiling around the room like, slightly getting choked, and the dancing master's eyes are blazing at this surprise attack from the aunt.
It seems like we have him outnumbered. It's time to get out the outnumbered rules.
I think you do have him outnumbered. Yes, and I think you get a bonus die from here on in on all your attacks. So are you...
Me and the aunt are going to be the best of friends after this.
Are you
it's going to be so
Are you
good.
going to attack him once more?
Yeah. I will just stab him right in the gut, I guess.
Make a brawl roll with a bonus die.
Come get it. Hard success. Oh, that is an 11 under 50. That is 1 point off an extreme success. Do I need it? I will spend it. Why not?
And
extreme success. That means piercing.
That was it an extreme success or was it a hard success?
I spent one luck to get it into an extreme success.
Which means...
So we're piercing.
Which
means maximum knife damage plus rolling the knife damage.
So roll for damage.
What is the damage for knife?
Damage for knife is, I believe, 1d4 plus damage bonus.
Okay, so 8 plus 2d4. 8 plus 6.
That knife that he used against you, that you picked up in your hands, that you turned against him, goes straight into those dark, possessed eyes, straight through into the skull, into the mind that once was there, but now is possessed by the dancing master. And with an unearthly howl, the spirit of the dancing master leaves the body of the lieutenant, and this black wisp of smoke begins to, trickle out the window in a gust, in that wind that's, just picked up, and it just steams out in this unholy black smoke. And as it's going, you hear the beat of these unearthly drums. It's a small window into a world that you don't think you will ever see, and you never wish to. Perhaps it is the world that you saw in your dream, but the dancing master dissipates into the air, and the lieutenant drops to the ground, dead, bloodied, and your beautiful muslin dress is covered with red blood. But the aunt does not care. Well done, my girl. You really do have the fire in you. Thank you for saving my life.
Oh, Dowager, what happened? I'm so confused.
I do not know. This man was possessed. A devilish creature. It's just that it must be, I cannot admit it, but it must have been the ghost of that maze.
I saw the ghost. The ghost was real. I saw him twice. But it seems like maybe he's gone now.
Whatever he was.
I will never pretend to be feminine ever again.
And neither shall I ever hide my true character again. My dear, I know that my nephew is not an appealing person, but you will be welcome wherever the name of Dulfrey is known. I shall ensure it. You shall be my special charge. I see so much of myself in you, and you shall have no need to marry, for I shall ensure that you are kept to the rest of your days. And when I am gone, I ensure that at least some of my fortune shall fall to you, my girl, for the service you have rendered me tonight. This I vow to you.
This is everything I've ever dreamed of. I should have killed the man much earlier.
Yes, we all should have done that. Don't we have regrets in life? Now we'll have to figure out a way to dispose of this body, but it shouldn't be too hard. It's not the first time this has happened around here.
We should also go get Harriet. She's hiding in the stables.
Oh, with the horses. Okay, maybe we just ride off while this is all going on, and leave Sir Jasper to deal with this mess. After all, I suspect he's got something to do with it, but I have no idea what that young boy's up to.
Definitely involved, but hopefully now that the strange ghost is gone, he'll feel a bit better.
So you all make your way down to the stable, and the aunt has offered you one of her exquisite shawls to cover your dress and the bloodstains on your dress. and people turn their heads at the sight of you in company with the Lady Dowager. I mean, that is high, extraordinary level of reputation, and you do not even need to make a reputation roll to receive 1d6 reputation points.
That's a 1, but you know what? I will accept it gladly.
But it will only grow over time as you and she become the best and closest of friends, as you travel to the continent together, as you become her companion in her aging years. And
it's beautiful.
You go to the stables and find Harriet, who has sworn off men altogether, and you form together a cabal of women fighting against possessed men and likewise. And the ball continues into the night, and you hear from rumours that Sir Jasper was deeply outraged when he couldn't find any of the special music that he'd been writing for tonight's ceremony. And he is last seen heading towards the centre of the hedge maze.
Oh. Well, good luck to him.
And in the days and weeks to follow, the only thing that you hear of him, for he has disappeared from this earth, you hear that he was taken to the celestial skies in a beam of light, to a boiling, roiling, fiery opening in the heavens, from which a faint music could be heard. The end. So yeah, Phaedra, what did you like about this scenario? I mean, we had so much fun with that aunt in the end.
Oh my god, the aunt. I mean, we bonded instantly. According to Stu, I'm the first person to ever bond with the aunt, and I don't know why, because it was very natural. I think Marina is a special character because she's given the opportunity to reject authority and, to not care too much about etiquette in a way, even though she understands it. And I feel like that, yeah, she's a wonderful character to play for me because I also empathize. I have a little bit of a spoiler for this just from watching Hal draw the dance floor scene. And I kind of have seen what can happen if the song does play, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I've seen some terrifying orchestra people turn into weird creatures.
Well, we all know, like, if in, the Lovecraft mythos, if they're playing a song, some of the elder gods got to be involved with it, right? It's
exactly, and I really like that. I like that. I like the isolation of the Host and Hostility scenarios. I feel like horror really plays well with solo scenarios because you have to make all your decisions yourself. You can't just count on the team to push you forward. And yeah, I just really like the characters. The lieutenant was terrible. Harriet and the lieutenant are great to have there because you have like some stupid people you have to worry about because they're making bad decisions with themselves, and she's running around getting me to the maze.
Yeah, and Harriet really does feel like
Yeah.
is it Harriet from Sense and Sensibility? She really does feel that kind of I'm just running after the men and being silly in a carriage and ruining my reputation. But then when that actually happens, that's a problem when I followed through on that behavior. And obviously she did not deserve that from the lieutenant in any way, shape or form. He was a awful cad.
I'm glad the lieutenant got possessed because I didn't feel very bad about killing him.
No. And look, his body's probably still in that study till time immemorial. There's probably a skeleton just, sitting there or in the aunt's bedroom, I should say.
Oh, is that where she hid it? That's very inconspicuous.
So, just under the bed. No one's going to look there. I picked this scenario to run it because it was my favorite out of I'm like, what game are we playing?
The three from Host and Hostility. Is this Note and Notoriety?
Yes, so I was going to say Note and Notoriety from Host and Hostility.
The other way around.
Yes, so I really enjoyed this scenario when I read it. I always love a ball. It means I can just, it's just such a key part of Jane Austen's writing, the balls. It's where everything happens, even openings to cosmic, dimensions.
Sorry, I literally didn't step foot in the ballroom. I mean, I did. I ran through it once.
I think you ran through it twice.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Like you ran around the edge once to get to Harriet, and then you ran back through, and then you got a garden. So, it's
not too bad. Not too bad.
You succeeded where you needed to succeed, and that's a lesson for all of us in life.
I also really like the handouts, and I've been admiring this entire time the dance sequence in the shape of the tuning fork.
Yes.
I feel like that's just mesmerizing and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image with the music there. I should get my piano out and try and play it, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. When I tried, it didn't go very well. All the feelings of despair. Opening the
rolls,
opening up a channel to a gate to another world.
I did, and the other thing, I will say, I've been really impressed with how Stu's put this together in Roll20. It is so beautiful to look at with all the handouts, like an open book, and it's really enhancing my knowledge of how to use the platform to run a game versus my usual games, which is I'll just upload 4 JPEGs and that's all you can do, right? Whereas this really shows how you can run it beautifully with everything on the table. I had a lot of fun running this. Who doesn't want young ladies of questionable means and fortunes running around with rifles at parties trying to stop possessed lieutenants,
Yeah, gotta rewrite history.
Yeah, I think that is the fun of Regency Cthulhu though, right? It's you can take history and then the fun of Cthulhu generally, it's history to a point, right? Where it stops being entertaining or enjoyable, that's when we start to be able to change it as well.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy characters like Marina for that reason. She gets to be beyond her time and send the good messages that you should stab someone with a knife in the face.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I was writing my own scenario, I mean, so this is my little plug for the Well of All Fear, the Regency Cthulhu scenario that you can check out on Drive Through RPG, which I wrote. But one of the things I discovered when I was writing it in the Regency period, there were not a lot of police. There was no formalized police force in the UK, so you could potentially leave a dead body there, and if there was no distinct evidence, then they wouldn't be able to do anything really. And I think especially if you're well-to-do, it would be less problematic than, say, later in the 19th century when there is a formalized police force after the 1830s. So, just a little factoid for you.
That is fun. I will make sure to make mention of that in my scenario for Regency that's coming up hopefully soon, called A Fine Match.
A fine match, hey? Oh, we had such a...
It's a very quick convention Regency scenario.
We had such a fine match tonight. I'm so disappointed that Marina did not marry Sir Jasper.
Marina and the Ant?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're the best match.
Even Harriet, I could ship that. Like, she's changed forever after her experience with the Lieutenant, so we could have continuing adventures of the trio against the mythos.
Oh my goodness, I want this. Please make a sequel. We have to make a sequel.
They'll have to form a society, that's all I'll say.
Against possessed men, very specifically.
Yeah, cads about town and possessed men. Rakes, rogues, cads about town, possessed men shall exterminate for money, for cash, for goodwill.
We don't even need the money.
No,
we're just doing it for fun.
It's a benevolent society. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a future to aspire to.
So, Phaedra, where can we find you online? And where will we be able to find your new game?
Oh, goodness. Well, you can find me more or less everywhere in the Call of Cthulhu community. But you can most specifically find me on Twitter as Phaedra F, Phadra. On Discord, various Discord, but most specifically also on Stazarite, stazarite.com, which is kind of the podcast I have founded, my baby, where I run scenarios I publish and also long-form Chaosium games. And, well, A Fine Match is hopefully coming relatively soon to Drive-Thru RPG, and I have my other two babies, Good Vibes Only and The Castle of Greed, which are out there in print on demand. Good Vibes Only is a gold bestseller. Go get it.
Yes, I have a copy of it. It's gorgeous. And I am obviously Kat Clay. I was the keeper of Arcane Lore, but I also write Call of Cthulhu games as well. So I am the author of The Hammersmith Haunting, a Gaslight one-shot. Takes about 3.5 hours to play. And it's a gold bestseller as well as of last month. And it
very well deserved.
Thank you. And it's also print on demand. And it turned gold the same day the Well of All Fear turned copper. So that was a very special day for me. And you can also pick up that, which is a longer scenario set in Regency Buxton. There are cads, rakes, rogues, baths, and Regency hijinks, as well as some very sinister happenings. And it's a little bit of a feminist take on classic Call of Cthulhu tropes. So I hope you really enjoy it. It's had some lovely reviews so far.
I love that. I hope I get to play in it with you sometime.
Well,
Kat.
I would more than love to run the scenario for you and maybe some other fine folks from the Miskatonic Playhouse. And yeah, you know, you can find me on their Discord as well, because I tend to hang out there a bit and chat to people online. So I think without further ado, after this fabulous night of frolicking, Mr. Hampton would be rather irritated to find out what his friend's daughter got up to tonight, but he will never know unless he listens to this podcast. I wish you...
Oh, no.
I suppose I wish you all a very good evening, and thank you so much for listening.
Until the curtain rises again, would say Newman.